Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Welcome to UFOs and time travel plus alien tech. Let's just go ahead and jump into this. I'll be right back. Welcome to the live stream on Visual Disturbance channel.
Got one that can see.
We are live here on Visual Disturbance channel. Welcome everybody back to the channel here today. Well, we got a lot to talk about, but decided to go to impromptu, just random live stream tonight, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are from. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you all for attending with me here on the Visual Disturbance channel. Let's take a little drink of kombucha lemonade. Yeah. So, thank y'all for attending with me today. We got a lot to talk about. I thought this was an interesting topic to talk about. Before we do that, though, before we get into tonight's program, or this afternoon, or where we are, SpiracyCon.com. If you get an opportunity to go check out SpiracyCon.com. August the 22nd, 23rd, Cape City, Kentucky. Tickets are on sale now. Check it out while you can. We still are selling tickets, so have a gander and look at it there for August the 22nd, 23rd, 2025. This summer at Cape City, Kentucky. Be glad to see you guys, and be cool to as far as get to see you in real life. So check that out if you get an opportunity, and also check out the Facebook page and all that good stuff, and let us know how you're doing. Let us know how we're doing at SpiracyCon Facebook. So today, well, with everything going on in the world, it's been a little while. I've had some hardware issues, software issues, all kinds of issues with everything, it seems. Everything. And it's been a little bit hard to get the broadcast out that I need to get done here on the Visual Disturbance channel. But hey, we're back at it again here. It's been like, 13 days, 12 days since I've been live here on the Visual Disturbance channel. So it's going to be a little different, more laid back. But I'm going to be energetic as possible. And I hope you guys will enjoy this one because got a lot to talk about. And interesting things are going on in our realm. Interesting. So, there's a gentleman I want to talk about today. I found an interview that was done in 1964. But before we get into that interview and show that video footage, because I want to see your all's reactions, because I'm going to do a live reaction here on the Visual Disturbance, and I'm going to sit here and watch this with you guys live together. But let's have a overall summary of tonight's broadcast and see what we can come up with this individual here. The integration of time machine for basic research, rejuvenation, anti-gravity, and time travel. With all the things going on in the East and all the insanity and perilous times that we live in, it seems like things are not as what they seem. Well, this gentleman, back in the day, was born in 1910. This is George Tassel. Well, George Tassel was a very interesting gentleman, okay? Let's just kind of get an overview of who this guy was. He passed away in February of 1978. He was American, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Wake up, Brian. Wake up where you're at. Come on now. Ufologist and an author and a self-proclaimed contactee who rose to prominence in 1950s for his claims with communication with extraterrestrial beings. He is best known for constructing the integration of the wooden dome and one of the deserts. So yeah, it's interesting Mojave Desert. Yeah, for sure. So, what in the world's going on here? Which he described as a time machine designed for rejuvenation, anti gravity, and time travel research. He organized the Giant Rock Interplanetary Spacecraft Convention and a significant gathering for thousands of UFO enthusiasts during his peak and back in this, those times between 1910 and 1970s. So this gentleman done so many different things, especially in the 1947 aerospace industry, and relocated his family to the Mojave Desert and the Giant Rock. And this massive, let's just say he had an interesting setup here. I don't have a picture of that for this program today. But he talks about different things in this interview we're getting ready to watch here together. And I just want to know your all's take. Have you guys ever heard this guy before? Because for some reason I've not really touched base on this gentleman. I haven't ever really researched him out. So before I move on, though, I want to give everybody a heads up. I've been having some teeth issues again. It is like nothing but it's like a thorn in my side. I go through it like every couple months. So forgive me if I'm stumbling on my words. So between the Kentucky accent and talking a little hillbilly every now and then, and you have a little toothache, it can make things a little bit of pain in the side, okay? A little pain in the side. So bear with me for this broadcast. Bear with me. So, this thing was set up in California, and he made out of a unique wooden dome structure. And he claimed that he was participating in the extraterrestrial activity. So there was all kinds of, let's just say, interesting things that he was connected with. Douglas Aircraft, Hughes Aircraft, Lockheed, all kinds of different things. A flight inspector, he's done it all. He was involved, okay? So very interesting gentleman as far as his, let's just say his resume. Telepathic communications. I think this is interesting when we did the Monroe Institute program on FOJC. Very interesting that he has a telepathic communications, and he's talking about all that in his bio. So he was talking about meditation during his sessions that was under the Giant Rock. I mean, this is insane, guys. What is it? I mean, what is going on? And the things that go bump in the night, we talk about some very controversial topics here on Visual Disturbance community. And I don't agree with everything. Well, I don't agree with a lot of this, a lot of things I'm getting ready to show in this video here soon. But I think this is a very interesting conversation piece, and especially get to discuss this man's life. And I'm not going to desecrate him or disrespect him in any shape or form. I'm just going to show the information as it is and talk about the video here, and then commentary in between increments of the video. So the structure was designed without metal to avoid interference with electromagnetic fields. And I want to point this out. It's so strange that he goes out and he decides to make this structure. And when I think about it, I'm like, what do you do, right? What do you do? And when I think about the Mojave Desert, and I think about Indian mounds we discussed here on the Visual Disturbance channel, it's just strange to me that his construction of this was literally made out of wood and not anything else to that level of, interference with electromagnetic fields. It's just so strange because I've read a lot of different things. I've listened to a lot of Coast to Coast. I've read a lot of books on the UFO phenomenon. And even when I look at the Indian Mound narrative, and there's a lot of electromagnetic fields around those, and they're domed. Come on now. So he builds a dome in the Mojave Desert called the Giant Rock. And he claims that integration with the base of the extraterrestrial instructions and principles derived from the work of Nikola Tesla. Okay? Extending human life through cellular rejuvenation. And then he's talking about facilitating anti-gravity and time travel research. And then they go on about funding and what have you. There's all kinds of different things. And then the current status on this today, as far as integration, is a historical style, tourist attraction, used for sound baths. Wow. And meditation sessions due to unique acoustics. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2019. Yeah. So apparently this guy was at the forefront of the UFO phenomenon and extraterrestrial contactees, so to speak. So before we play this video, Just a disclaimer. Uh, this channel is, we talk about certain things, we talk about certain topics, but I'm not going to deviate from that or go down to a new age, route. So we're going to play this video, 1964 video, and this gentleman is talking about the moon, talking about time travel mechanisms, talking about alien tech, and the UFO that, well, even back then and even up to until today's time, it sounds to me that we're living in the same reincursion that this gentleman with Mr. George Tassel is referring to. So let's watch this video together. Let me pull it up here real quick for everybody's entertainment. And we'll be right back here, and let me chime in. Like I said, I'm a little slow today, but that's okay. Let's see if I can get this thing to crank up here. So we're going to watch this together. Let me know what your all's thoughts are. Subscribe, hit that like button. I appreciate y'all being here with me and attending with me here this afternoon on this literally random broadcast on Visual Disturbance channel. And like I said, if you're just now tuning in, I'm a little tongue-tied. And like the last few, I've been battling this tooth thing. I haven't really brought this out into the public eye because, well, I just don't want to be complaining. But today I am kind of going through it. There's a lot of pain, but I'm trying to endure through this, and I want to show you all the material. I want to show you this content. I really want to show because it's very interesting to me. It's got my wheels turning. So let's jive. Let's just jive right in here. Jive? Did I say jive? Let's just chime in here. Let's get in it. Let's get into it.
You're building down in California.
Well, Jack, this was the result of a formula which was given to me by a man who landed a ship at my airport in 1953. And we put this formula under research, tested a number of experiments on a bench in a good electronics lab in Chicago, and we produced phenomenal results with evidence that we should do it on a larger scale in order to be able to do more with it. And this evolved out of something that started in 1953 into a 4-story high machine that we're working on down there today.
Now, George, I don't care whether the machine is 4 stories high or 40 stories high or 4 inches high. When I say calmly and unexcitedly, a time machine, what does your formula tell you you can do with a time machine?
Well, Jack, our formula has no time factor, which electronic formula does have. And on the other hand, electronic science has only had 2 dimensions to work with, the electric pattern and the magnetic pattern perpendicular to it. And we discovered a 3rd zone, which we call a time zone, and we are working through this zone with an effort to orient the magnetic field to give us other results than our science can obtain at present.
George, it's double talk to me. A time machine means to me a little box that I can go into and go back 5,000 years or forward 10,000 years. Is that what your formula tells you you can do?
Well, Jack, this isn't a little box. This is a 4-story machine focusing fields that we can orient to produce this zone big enough for a man to get into. It isn't a box.
But what happens to the man when he gets into the zone? I'm all agog with curiosity.
I just want to pause here real quick, everybody. You know what's interesting? This film came out in 1960, or this interview here came in 1964. And this, when he's just discussing, we're only, a few minutes in here, a couple minutes in, and when I'm hearing him explain his information about electromagnetism and all that, it reminds me of the Lost series. Has anybody ever watched the TV show The Lost? They talk about magnetic fields, and certain men on there can take on certain magnetic fields and search pulse where their body won't break down and dematerialize, right? So it's almost like, it's just strange when you think about it. This is 1964. My goodness, that was years and years ago. I mean, and look and think about the technology that we have now. Like, where are we at? Like, 2025 is looking kind of dicey. I would say on the waters right now and overseas, there's certain things that are not looking too chipper as far as our reality. It looks like it's all coming unglued. But I would say this, I'm going to do a video here soon about this, about what is going on in Iran and Israel. Is there something underneath the ground? There's something to give you a little spoiler alert because I'm going to go down that rabbit hole if there's something there on an archaeology side of it that might be hidden from humanity. And because the same narrative when it went in Iraq and the whole, early 2000s, it makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder. There's so many different things out there, and it can get the wheels turning really quick. So let's just listen to what Mr. George had to say here more on this video. And electromagnetism, I think about the just knowing about certain things that I'm not going to bring up just right now, but it makes one wonder where we're headed as far as society. And I seen somebody in the chat a while ago. I think they made a modern reality is boring. Is it boring? Excuse me, I misspoke there. Victoria, modern reality, is it boring? No, it's not boring. And I've said this many times on the Visual Disturbance channel. A lot of people, this world wants you to think it is. And go outside, there's so many different things, archaeology sites, there's so many just beautiful landscaping, things that you can go look at and just observe, and probably right down your street. You probably don't even have a topography or mapping of it. A lot of things I found out around where I'm from, you can't find it. You can't find it anymore. Like things are just like suppressed and, you just can't find it. It could be 25 minutes down the road and it just could be completely hidden from the public. And you go out there and be like, wow, that's exciting, and just don't give up because this reality is not boring. Let's just listen to what this gentleman had to say more.
Jack, we've discovered this zone is subject to thought. Now, since time doesn't record events the way we do on calendars and clocks, you could only record an event by thinking of it. Now, theoretically, we believe we can take a videotape magnetic camera into the time zone and photograph Lincoln's Gettysburg Address or Caesar's armies marching or anything that's ever happened.
All right, let me get this straight. In other words, you're telling me, like H.G. Wells imagined 50 years ago, that everything that happened in time is still there to be seen by the recreation electronically of a thought which exists.
Jack, you know how you talk into a tape on a tape recorder and play the interruptions back, identical to the play that you made. The Earth's magnetic field is the same way. You can put interruptions into it and play them back out of it. An associate of ours in creating a magnetic coupler with this principle coupled in the Earth's magnetic field and played back TV shows from stations that aren't even in business anymore.
You mean that an experiment has been done to bring out of the air television programs which have been and gone?
Been and gone.
Now, where was this experiment conducted?
It was conducted in Santa Monica by an associate of mine.
Why hasn't this hit the headlines throughout the world as that's a time machine in action? If I can...
Jack, the reason it hasn't hit the world is because, as I understand it now, the Navy Department took him and the research over because he also discovered he could bounce magnetic echoes off the ionosphere and locate submarines under the ocean, regardless of where they were. So,
who is this associate of yours?
This is a fellow named Charlie Arts.
Charlie Arts?
Yeah.
And is he a free man walking around today?
Well, he's free where he is in this super secret research he's conducting.
Now, so therefore you tell me soberly in front of this television camera that things, old television programs have been recreated out of nothing.
Played back with a picture and the sound just as good as the day they were broadcast. We've done this many times.
Why didn't you bring one up with you?
Well, this requires quite a piece of apparatus. This magnetic coupler works on around 50,000 volts, and it doesn't have any radio frequency connected with it. And actually, the television set which plays back the picture doesn't even have an antenna connected to it.
George, you know as well as I do, and you've been on television 350 times, and I've known you. I've met you once 7 years ago, and I kind of like you. Mm-hmm. But you know what the people out there are saying. They're saying this man's a nut.
Well, Jack, you know, when Fulton was running his steamboat up the Hudson River, there were people still standing on the bank saying it couldn't be done.
All right, let me take you back, though. You have a time machine plan.
And mind you, too, this is filmed, this recording here of this interview was way before the Montauk Project. So when you think about the Montauk Project and you think about the Philadelphia experiment, I think there's some things here that we just don't understand or we can even process it. And I think this man literally is probably telling the truth to certain things, you know? I can't, like I said, I can't get on agreement with everything. But when he's talking about these applications with electromagnetism and different things that he is talking about here, he's speaking it so fluently here in 1964. So no telling what he has seen. And then if you go on and think about what his, let's just say his apprentices or whoever it is that he trained, or whoever to continue on his knowledge, could you imagine how advanced they are? Heck, could you imagine how many more people are out there in Germany and different, it doesn't matter. I mean, any other country could be so far beyond advancement, 100 to 200 years ahead of time. And then you think about military applications and what they could actually do with it, you know? Just the administration not too long ago was talking about the Michael Krastios. We talked about that here on the channel. And about him, I think it was time manipulation and, you know, all these good things that just makes it all kinds of fun, right? To hear that news and talking about time manipulation or so-called mechanisms to alter time, okay? Whatever that concludes, whatever that includes with that, we have no idea. But could it be something to what this gentleman is talking about? Let's just say, you know, all the things that's went on, all the wars that we've had that came and gone. Let's just say hypothetically, yes, all the things happened. I'm not saying none of these wars didn't happen, but let's just say on the back end of things, there was technology far superior, far advanced that goes back a millennium. And they was using that as a, let's just say, all this other stuff's going on hypothetically. And then you look and all this land is being desecrated and there's war breaking out. But then, like I alluded to earlier with the Iraq war, you think about when they went in there and Saddam Hussein's museum and got all those information with the resurrection tablets, Gilgamesh's tablet, the two, I think it was like 2,200 artifacts that they extracted from there, and then had the two big, huge, large caskets. Well, it makes you think. It does. It makes you think, like, what are we doing? Like, how can they do it? You know, I've looked, you know, you can't even process it. Could it be something to the level of ancient alien tech like this gentleman's going to be talking about? You know, could it be something that just far surpasses our perception of reality? You know, here's what I would say in the Visual Disturbance channel, any other channel platform I go on. Fallen angel technology has been around for a long, long time. And I think here we are. This gentleman right here was in 1964 talking a lot more truth here in this interview than you get today. There's a lot of gaslighting going on. A lot of people just manipulate the truth and cause a bunch of discord and ruckus. And not just, you know, they're all controlled opposition. So they can't even see through, they can't even, like, whatever they are told to say on the teleprompter, you know, like, we're in this together. Come on, welcome. There's you know, all this stuff, all this propaganda and mind-numbing twistiness. You know, that's the good old-fashioned Kentucky slang here on the Visual Disturbance channel. It's getting old. It's getting old. And, but this gentleman's just like, yeah, he just, the way he's talking, you could just tell the way his body language and everything, it's so much different now in 2025. Yes, we have biologicals, blah, blah, blah. And then they never show anything. This guy's like saying, yeah, I'm going to go out here and build me a wooden bunker, a wooden little dome, and I'm going to start doing something. I'm going to start changing electromagnetic fields. I'm going to make a direct communication to something, shape or form, and just set up shop here in California, right? And it really does. It makes you wonder. Because we got these crews over here talking about, well, we communicate them telepathically, like this gentleman has a profile of. We darken out our eyes and we put on little headsets and we go out in the middle of the field and we start sing Kumbaya and do a little dance, you know, and can't touch this or whatever it is, and do a little circle dance and do a little ritual and bounce off the firmament and the ether, the aether, whatever you want to call it. And we sit here and communicate with interdimensional beings and say that it's okay and we're getting information. I just don't understand. But this guy's like, yeah, I'm old school, but I'm telling you straight up, like, here's what's up, you know? I don't have to agree with everything this man says, but I do think that he is saying some credible things here, incredible things here on this interview, and I think he really is not playing. But some of the stuff that he talks about here after a while, we'll talk about it, but it makes you just go, you know? And I couldn't believe that I finally found. I can't believe this wasn't on my radar. I can't believe I couldn't. I found this. I just stumbled upon it just yesterday, and I thought to myself, "Wow, that's interesting. Why have I never found this before?" But let me just continue the video.
You have done experiments which show you can bring the past to life. Where did this formula come from?
I love that Scotch accent. Jack, the formula came from a ship that landed at my airport in 1953 on August the 24th, which had 4 people aboard it that came from another planet.
I'm breathless.
Well, you're not only breathless, I was breathless.
But I'm cynical, too.
Well, that's fine. That's the way to be. In fact, I'm a bigger skeptic than you are of many things.
I'm an unbeliever. Convince me that this really happened to you.
Well, this thing is very similar to a thing that happened in our biblical records where a Lord presented Moses with a pattern to build a tabernacle. They came out of the sky, they handed him stone tablets, and this phenomena that's taking place today is as old as our history, as our civilization. This isn't anything new that's occurring. It's something that's being continued in another time of crisis when conditions affecting the people of this planet are reaching a point where somebody has to take care of the situation.
Now, I don't intend in any way to be disrespectful or blasphemous, but do you feel, and I know you're not an evangelistic type, do you feel that you're some kind of Moses receiving a new word?
Well, I don't say that, Jack. I say that what is occurring now has occurred before. There's many records of these ships landing throughout history, clear back into Sanskrit. And there are records in the 1898 Chicago newspapers.
And I think some of my awesome listeners have just picked that up. Time of crisis. Time of crisis. Speaking of nuclear, okay? Nuclear war that I keep hearing about, nuclear this, nuclear that. I heard something like 10 years ago. I think it was like an astrophysicist or something. Some scientist of some magnitude, some higher stature, whatever his occupation was, whatever his title was. But the man had information about nuclear. And when I think about the nuclear concept and that reality, I think about what I remember hearing. This gentleman made the conversation piece. He started off with like nuclear when things like the atomic bomb and all these different applications was placed into a reality, Fukushima, all these different things. When they do that, it opens up some type of ripple effect and the veil gets pierced and they're allowed to communicate. No joke. That's what they're claiming. Okay? So riddle that one in your mind when we're thinking about, well, you got missiles coming in. We got nuclear, scares on the rise. The good old-fashioned reset concept, whatever. They're always coming up with something to fear factor. But the thing is, could I be onto something when I'm thinking about that? Could it be, hypothetically, could it be something to that level of that magnitude where the nuclear world, like the nuclear concept is like a molecular, it breaks down the reality of the veil. The electromagnetic field breaks down. There's something about it that you can see it, you can observe it. There's like this crossing over from portal to portal, hence fallen angel technology. So let's continue on with Mr. George here. Let's hear what he has to say some more here.
It covered the front page for 3 days of a big ship setting over Chicago. When you realize we're dealing with a type of man that is almost as far above us in intelligence as we are above the lower animals.
I have to interrupt real quick. Victoria is doing a great job here in the chat and saying some very good comments. Only Christ will set you free. Amen to that. Amen to that. It just caught my eye. I had to say that. Victoria, thank you so much. I seen this is totally off the subject, but I was watching something earlier on Twitter X. This gentleman went into I think it was a Buc-ee's or some gas station and literally just started, speaking about the gospel. Like just straight up yelling it, just not in a conflicted way, not angry or nothing. He just spitting out. He didn't have any teeth problems like me today where I'm just can't even speak, but he was just spitting out every which thing. I mean, just anything scripture related, he was just cranking it, right? And I thought that was great. Like I really did. It took a lot of guts to do that. It took a lot of guts. But like I said, Mr. George here, I wouldn't agree with everything he says. I wouldn't agree with him on everything, but I do on the scientific level, on his understanding of all these things when it comes to extraterrestrials, which aka fallen angels. He has an understanding. You know, he could probably, if he was still alive today, he would probably be at the forefront of the whistleblowers, the UFO phenomenon. Probably, heck, he'd probably be up there setting up shop at the congressional hearings. And there's some people in chat saying it's all theory. That's 100% correct. There could be a little bit of, could be a sleight of hand going on. Yeah, there's been a lot of things going on with the Pentagon. There's been a lot of different information coming out as we speak. Yes, I agree. But we're talking about, you know, when it comes into paranormal activity, ghost, the Greys, all these different things, fallen angel, like perception, like you perceive it a certain way. These things can masquerade as angels of light, masquerade as Bigfoot for all I care, or do a little dance, you know, like I said earlier, dance around like, I don't know, just anybody, and manipulate your mind like a chameleon. And I think it's really time to get real. Like, this is Ephesians 6 verse 12. A lot of people scoff at me and say some very harsh things about me when I mention anything biblically related. And I think it's strange. It's very strange. But yeah, I hope I'm still here. Somebody says, yo, you're back on. Well, that's good. I didn't know I got disconnected, but I will just keep on going. We got weather issues around here, but hey, we're live here. Welcome to Visual Disturbance channel. If I've cut out, forgive me if I did. And let me double check real quick. Let me double check if I am. If I'm not, that's a good one. No, we're good. Oh, the stream health looks good. That's a good news. That's really good news. So let's get back into the video though, folks. Thanks for the warning though. But yeah, but thank you. Let's continue on.
There isn't anything phenomenal in this at all.
Now, you say casually, because this is your life's work now, ships. Now, you mean flying saucer, don't you?
Well, a flying saucer was a name the press put on this thing. And actually what they termed a flying saucer was nothing but a scout ship from the big carriers.
But I want to go back to that night in 1953. Tell me, where did this happen for people who haven't heard you talk or seen you yet?
It happened on my airport, which I've operated for the last 16 years, at Giant Rock Airport, 17 miles north of Yucca Valley in California, or 40 miles north of Palm Springs.
Now, this is a private airport for small aircraft, is it?
This is an airport used both by the military and private aircraft.
You own this airport, do you?
I lease this airport from the United States government. I've operated it for 16 years since I retired from the flight test business in the aviation.
Right now. How old are you now, by the way, George?
I'm 54, Jack. Got 3 grown daughters, married, and 11 grandchildren.
You don't mind if I ask you the stock question?
I have to interrupt again. The UFO phenomenon, 1947. This man was alive and well during that time frame. And like I talked about earlier when we was talking about his bio and telling him about his, let's just say everything he'd done. Think about this for a minute. 1947, there's a lot going on. We even had the Flying Row FBI document that came out. And you can go look that up if you want to, and talk about the giant men that was inside these craft, autonomous vehicles, these saucers. They could do anything, and they could fly around and interdimensionally pop in and out and dematerialize, what have you. You know the drill. And when you think about the tactical nuclear thing that was going on in New Jersey with the drones sniffing the nuclear sites and all these different things, like I said earlier, could there be something to it? Could there be a nuclear signature that causes everybody to go into panic mode? And that's what these nuclear things are in some shape or form, these drones. They're sniffing out alien activity, which this man is speaking about, and these saucers. And if you think this is 1964, and if you go back and rewind about 20 years, not even less than 20 years ago, 20 years prior to this interview, this gentleman's talking about, he's referring to flying saucers, but they've already documented all that. And see, it's either that, some of this stuff throughout the years has been literally fabricated to a horrible, it's almost like Never Land or something, or, something on, just somebody coming up with these concepts, it's like a little storytelling, like folklore and just a bunch of, magical world of, make-believe world. And like I said, I think George here is talking a lot and telling a lot. I really do think that there's some of these things he's saying are legitimate. And if I had shown this, let's just say 10 years ago, okay, this would not have flown. There would have been people on this chat be like, what's wrong with this guy, man? This ain't nothing to this. But look, fast forward 2025, we're over here going, whoa, hold up. Wait a minute. It's going down. But we're in wicked time. We are living in some last days. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people are like, you'll see people online, we are going through the change, the apocalypse. We are changing the renewal. And they'll talk all dramatic with you on their social media platforms or reels, whatever they're doing. Well, they're going through, they'll twist their head back and forth and nod their head. And it's like they change their whole demeanor, their voice, and they'll start speaking a whole new language. Yes, listen to me, listen to my voice. And it'll be like and then before the day's over, I've got 400,000 views and I'm just tilting my head back and forth like I just don't care. And it's mesmerism. It's like, you get into these terminologies of like hallucinating and quite frankly, I would say hypnotic. You're getting like hypnotized by all what they do. It's weird. There's my ranting here today. I haven't been live for a while, so, I didn't mean to go on a big tangent. Let's listen to more George, because there's a lot here to chew on. He's got a lot more here to say.
And I know that you've been asked every obnoxious question that can ever have been asked. You've never been treated for any form of emotional upset.
I've never had an emotional upset other than women.
Except that night in Yucca Flats, not Yucca Flats, a Giant Rock, when this ship appeared. Now, give me the details, George, because I'm never tired of hearing the details of a man who says he has seen creatures from another world.
Well, actually, Jack, this was as simple as crossing a street and getting hit by a car. After it's over, you're the victim of the circumstance. And I didn't see the ship land. One of my son-in-laws, that wasn't my son-in-law at that time, saw it come down. Another man on the airport heard it, and he wasn't where he could see it. And the man got off of the ship and approached me before I even knew there was a ship down.
Where were you then? What time of day or night was it?
It was 2 o'clock in the morning and approximately a full moon, which is like daylight on the desert.
Were you walking about outside or what?
No, I was sound asleep when he awakened me.
This man awakened you?
Well, something awakened me.
So you got up out of your bed?
I got out of my bed and went aboard the ship at his request.
This man, in what language did he converse?
And just to say this real quick, he's referring to, there's a document, when you look him up, he's talking about I rode a flying saucer in around 1952. I think I got the date right. And he's detailing the early telepathic contacts with this Venusian, I think it's called Venusian encounter. And I think it's interesting. And also in 1958, you got to think about this for a minute, folks. During 1952, CERN was being, let's just say, miraculously erected and put together underneath the ground. And then in 1955, that thing was running at least to some small capacity, right? And then in 1958, this gentleman, the Council of the Seven Lights, explored his communication with the Ashtar Command, that's what it says, and their teachings above universal law and human evolution. And then when stars look down, he reflected on his life. I think it's a book he wrote in 1976, Experience with the Integration Project. Okay. When I think about this Ashtar Command and I think about these, advancements, just think about this for a minute. I hear people all the time like AI is going to make us evolve into something different. And they, like I said, it's always dramatic, forgive me for my little impressions, but that's when I see that, when I hear people speak like that. Yes, I can barely speak the English language. Okay. Yeah, sure. Everybody make fun of me. Cool. Whatever. I'm from Kentucky. Give me a chance here. Give me a break. Give me a break here. You know, I made it out. I barely made it out. Well, I'm still here, but you know what I mean. But the way they put so much emphasis in their voice, it's just so we will, you know, like I always do the Terminator or something like that. You know, it's all weird, right? It's just strange to me, and that's spiritually driven. Like, if you can't be real and you can't be like legit, like a real sound-minded person, just speak truth and speak real. Don't be like, hello, you know, like if I see you guys at SpiracyCon, I'd be like, hi, you know, change my whole demeanor in my voice. I'm Brian. Hello, how are you? I'm a robot. You know, and if I can't be the same and I have to change my accent and my whole demeanor just to see somebody, and, you know, that's just crazy. That's just mind blowing to me. It just, my reality doesn't even comprehend it. I'm just not that type of person, you know, like, I should change my voice. It's just, there's my rant. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny to me. Like, I'll digress. I'm going to keep moving on. I'm just ranting, but some of this stuff can just be mind numbing to listen to. It really can. It can be mind numbing. You know, with the people that are authority and everything, and they'll be like, I want to tell you a story. It makes me think of like some old show from the 70s and 80s, you know, I can't remember the TV show, but, well, you be my neighbor, you know, whatever. You just sit there reading off a teleprompter while there literally is nefarious evil things plotted against humanity and technology that we can't even understand. We'll go up to it and worship it. If the rock starts talking, we'll say, do you want my social? I mean, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. But I'm going to keep moving on. I'm sorry to go on a big rant. Let's just move on.
With you. He talked to me in the best English equivalent to Ronald Coleman.
And he met you there, and he said, what did he say, come with me to my ship, or what?
No, he said, I asked him what he wanted, because we have a lot of people come in stuck in the sand and broken axles and whatnot. And I asked him what he wanted, and he said, my name is Solganda, and I would be pleased to show you our craft.
Solganda?
Solganda.
Was the craft visible to you at this time?
It was. When he stated this, I saw beyond him the ship, which I hadn't seen before.
What did you see?
A bell-shaped type of anti-gravity ship that they operate as a scout ship out of.
So I just want to let y'all know this is up my alley. The Nazi bell, Hitler, all that good stuff. I'm not saying good, but he's talking about the same describing of what Hitler was talking about with the bell. Come on, folks. It's all there. This guy is literally saying the exact same thing, the whole prototype, everything. He's like, yeah, it's a bell. And what did he call the name? What did he call the entity or whatever? Solganda. Could you imagine? Solganda. You know, I don't even want to say it anymore. It's almost like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. But the thing is like, I couldn't even imagine going up, even if, like in 2025, if a saucer lands in the backyard and bow before me, Kentuckian, my name is Solganda. I'm gonna be like, I can barely see, but I can tell you right now, buddy, you're about 8 foot tall. You ain't bulletproof. And I'm gonna be like, I ain't gonna threaten you, but don't leave your craft unattended, because this old boy might jump on there and fly across that wall. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't make me go redneck ingenuity on you. You know what I mean? I don't need telekinesis to figure that out. I'll leave you in the backyard at 8 foot tall, and I'll be like bouncing across the road 1,000 billion miles an hour across into oblivion to get away from you. But yeah, it's just weird. I couldn't imagine. Bow before me, son. My name is Solganda. I just couldn't imagine. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having too much fun on here tonight. I'm having too much fun, but it's just it's been a while since I've been live. I want to thank you all for attending with me here, but I'm going to stop ranting. I'm going to keep watching the video here with you.
Out of the big carriers.
How big?
This was 36 feet in diameter and 19 feet high.
And where was it? On the ground?
No, it was hovering 10 feet off the ground.
And how did you go into this ship?
I walked with him to a spot underneath it, and an anti-gravity beam took me up through a hole in the bottom of it.
You're telling me at 2 o'clock in the morning in Giant Rock Airport, you walked underneath this hovering ship, and whammo, you went up inside.
No, you didn't go whammo. You went just about as slow as a local elevator run.
And when you got off the anti-gravity elevator, what did it look like?
I was inside of a ship about 18 feet in diameter and roughly 10 feet high to the domed ceiling, and there were 3 men on the ship, besides the one that had got off and invited me aboard.
You keep calling them man. What do you mean, man?
Well,
Little green man?
They were about 5'6". They came about to my eyebrows, and they could have walked in our clothes down any of our streets, and we wouldn't have paid any attention to them.
And did you bring any proof off that ship? Were you alone in the ship?
I was alone with the 3 men until the other fellow came up behind me, and then the 4 of them were aboard.
Were there any other earthly eyewitnesses to this?
Nothing, only outside of the ship.
And these people stayed outside?
On the airport.
And did you go anywhere in this ship?
Not to my knowledge. When I got off, it was the same place it was when I got on.
What do you mean, not to your knowledge? Had the door closed when you went in or something?
I don't know, because it was below the deck.
And did these people tell you where they came from?
They didn't say where they came from, but I've been in the air game since 1927, and their instruments were unlike anything I'd ever seen before.
Well, don't give me technicalities. What was different?
The difference was that we used dial instruments, and they used vertical instruments, like fluorescent tubes with marks on them.
What color were these people?
The instruments were marked in symbols similar to hieroglyphics. They were not in any language or number system we use on the Earth.
What color were these people?
They looked like they were white people with a good, healthy tan.
Did they give you any indication of how old they were, or what they ate, or where they came from at all?
After we got off the ship, the man who invited me aboard, who didn't look a day over 28 years of age, told me that he was over 700 years of age in our time.
Oh, come off it, George.
That's right.
Was this the guy who gave you the formula for the time machine?
That's the man.
And what form did the formula take? Did he implant it in your mind by telepathy, or did he give you something written in...
Just for fun here, and somebody already beat me to me in the chat, but I looked it up. The Soganda means oath. So think about that one, folks. Yeah. So this man's getting ready to tell you the algorithm to time travel. Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably not. But I guess the hieroglyphics 5'6", and what do you say, white, red-skinned, or 5'6", give or take, individuals, 700 years from, as far as real time, this creature-man hybrid could live to be 1,000 years. It almost makes me think of the Anunnaki. He didn't say 1,000, but 700 seems kind of strange to me. I don't know about you guys, but maybe that's the biologicals, like, I'm just so, I think I'm fried up over all this. Like, when I hear it, it makes me laugh a little bit now. I'm not trying to mock anybody that's a whistleblower or anybody that's a ufologist. I just think it's funny to me. The biologicals, the way they say it too, like they'll be speaking so fluent in English and speak very complex words, and the biologicals. I'm just going on one tonight. So thank y'all for being here for sure. It's been an honor, but I'm gonna continue on. This guy is saying some interesting stuff. They should share this at the congressional hearing. Why can't they share this document, this video recording here of Mr. George Tassel? Come on now.
English.
He spoke it to me verbally.
And you remembered this?
There's nothing to it to remember.
Will you tell me now? The formula for a time machine.
F equals 1 over T.
F equals 1 over T.
F being frequency and T being time.
And this enables me to go back to the time of Caesar's armies conquering Britain.
Well, it would enable a mathematician to work this out, yes.
And why hasn't this been acclaimed like Einstein's E equals mc squared?
Well, why hasn't the fact that the United States government's been flying anti-gravity ships since 1956 been acclaimed? Or the fact that there's a crater on the moon with a base in it since 1954, we've known this.
All right, but let's get, first of all, the U.S. Why haven't the FBI clapped you incommunicado for breaking secrets that they want to keep secret in the United States?
Well, possibly because they know this information is going to get out eventually anyway, and what I say won't make any difference.
Now, that particular night when you had this experience, did you call the police? Did you call the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the White House?
Well, I'm 17 miles from the nearest phone, Jack, and the nearest phone would get me to the sheriff's office, and it'd take them about 40 minutes to get out there.
Or wouldn't you have a phone on an airport?
No, we have no phone.
But you're an operating airport.
Well, we're an operating airport, but we're isolated in the middle of the desert, 17 miles from the closest town, and they've never run phones out there.
So how do you communicate with people who want to use your airport?
They fly in or write and phone to the local town where my daughter lives, and she notifies us when she comes out.
Now, you talked about a crater on the moon. Now, I thought all the moon stuff had been debunked and that nobody ever really knows what goes on the moon. What's this?
Well, this is the Gassendi crater. This is 55 miles long and oval-shaped. It's in the Mare Humorum Sea, or on the edge of it. Since 35 years ago, they wondered why this particular crater had these lines in it. And with the magnification which you can get with a larger telescope, this is what they found. These lines are tubes laying on the surface of this crater and running under some of the mountain ridges. There are 3 large dome-shaped structures in here. These tubes run clear outside of the crater, and we know they are tubes laying on the surface because the sun is shining from this angle, and this mountain peak causes this shadow.
What does it all mean? Does it mean that this is a rocket launching or a flying saucer base on the moon?
This has been a base on the moon for perhaps many thousands of years, used by these people in the spaceships to resupply their ships or whatever is required.
Not even Life magazine has accepted this as genuine, though, has it?
Well, the Palomar Observatory people that took the picture won't even comment on it, so...
There must be a great conspiracy of silence to keep George Van Tassel's secret of the universe away from the people.
No, it isn't to keep anything I know away from the people. It's to keep many things away from the people.
Let's talk about this picture.
This
is the time machine.
This is a picture of the machine we're building down there.
That's the wooden dome that I alluded to at the beginning of the program. Remember what I said? He didn't build it out of metal or anything. It was out of wood. So there you go. Talking about some crazy stuff, right? It's just interesting to me. Remember I was mentioning the dome, Indian Mountain Dome? Yes, I know it's just a mound. I know it's a burial site. But he could have chose a triangle shape, an oblique shape, a rectangle shape, but he chose the dome. It's interesting. It's interesting. If I'm ever out in California, which probably high profitability, I probably will never even touch my feet on the land unless God works in some mysterious way. But if I ever get an opportunity to check this site out, I'm going to be looking for some mounds, like around the perimeter. I don't care if it's 20 miles out, 10 miles out. I don't care if it's two feet from the facility. It's all interconnected in some shape or form. I want to know. I don't know. I've never really researched that area. And that's something we might need to tackle here on the Visual Disturbance channel. But yeah, got the dome. He's showing it right there. In the night, look, that 480p, that 280, 260 distorted white and black and white TV that we're watching here. If you're 40 and younger, or even if you're 30 and younger, nobody knows about the black and white TVs. Nobody knows that struggle. The young generation, they don't know that struggle. Listen, you're listening to a man. When I was a young man, I used to play like Nintendo, Atari, Super Nintendo. Heck, I even played PlayStation on a black and white TV because I couldn't afford anything. My family couldn't afford anything else. I had Technicolor for a long time. I was playing around with the black and white TV with the rabbit ears up until like, I don't know, 2000. So yeah, I got to experience a lot of video games in black and white. So it was kind of interesting. It kind of hit me in the face when I got actual Technicolor, so I'm kind of digging this old footage, this nostalgic feel that I'm getting from this old recording here. But yeah, let me move on.
This structure is actually up. We're working now on the parts on the equipment that operate it. This rim around here has armatures 57 feet in diameter, which will be better than 4 times bigger than the biggest armatures ever made before.
But is that the place where you did the experiments? By the way, how old were these television programs you pulled back out of time and space?
Well, the oldest one was 6 years back because television was 6 years old when this was done.
And what program was it? Do you remember?
Did you just hear what he said? He could go back 6 years because he was talking about the television. Do y'all remember, I think it was in Russia, if I'm not mistaken, I think they made it mandatory that everybody had a television in their house. He's sitting there saying that he could go back in time and look at a television show through the frequencies and look at a TV show from 1964, so go back to 1958, and he could observe it in some shape or form. Talking about a rerun. But seriously, listen to what he has to say, because it makes you really wonder, makes you really ponder on. Here's some wording I want to tell everybody. 2001. This is all I'm gonna say. 2001. This is what I heard for like 10 years. Where were you? Where were you on that great day? Time for silence. And I remember whenever, because I was a little bit younger back then, and when that event happened in New York, they came over the intercom and told everybody to turn the TVs on, no joke, and let all the children be involved in that. Think about that for a minute. Think about what I'm saying. I'm not going to say much because I still watch what I say here on the encrypted language of YouTube. But 2001, and everybody had to be forced to watch TV. And then later years, as the later years go on, where were you on that great day? And it went on for about 8 or 9 years, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing it. That was really weird. And mind you, that was a horrific day. People lost their lives and everything. It was horrible, catastrophic, horrifying. But the point is, even when I was working, like at a part-time job back in the grocery days, I used to be a grocery guy as a kid, but basically doing groceries, packing groceries, all that good stuff, and just departments and all that, dairy, whatever. And they'd come over the intercom, where were you? And they would say a moment of silence. And that went on for a long period of time. So let's just have a hypothetical here. We changed, remember the convergence between digital, and they got rid of the rabbit ears? You can still get rabbit ears to a certain level, but they're not the same exactly rabbit ears that this man is alluding to. What we referred to back in the day, the rabbit ears are not the same as they are today. So, if there's anything to this, anything that has weight to it, this could be so insane on a level when you're talking about latency. Like here we have the Internet of Things today, you have broadband, you have fiber optic cables, you have the latency. 5G has the latency. You have to have different, as far as antennas, to separate and have the strong signal, but it's lower. So, okay, there's stronger signal, so it's almost the same thing. Everybody get a TV, 1960s, because this is 1964. One large step for mankind, right? You feel me? Are y'all feeling where I'm going? So late 60s, we got we're going to the moon. Don't worry about it. Californication. What was that song from Hot Chili Peppers? Red Hot Chili Peppers, made in a Hollywood basement. I'm kind of getting a feeling that things have been matrixed out to make us believe and desensitize us to things that we would think was okay and just fun entertainment purposes only. And then all of a sudden, this guy's saying we can go back 6 years and look at some video or some, 6-year-old television TV shows. So, wow. Continue on.
I don't remember what program, but I know that on checking up on some of the stations that Art found that the station no longer existed. It was out of business.
Let's get down to some more basics now. Are you making a lucrative living out of traveling around the world, evangelizing for flying, around the continent, evangelizing for flying saucers?
No, Jack, I'm on a vacation to rest my wife because she's been 2 years in a 40-seat restaurant without a rest, more than anything else, and I enjoy these particular things as a sideline. I make my living on the airport, and this research is something that I've got more money into than anybody else and more contribution to it. 5 years of intensive research without any pay. We donated 10 acres of land with a well worth $23,000, and we formed this corporation for the purpose of building up and investigating this basic material.
All right, now how long is it going to take you to get your time machine in operation?
Well,
it all sounds so crazy. You must admit that I believe there are some odd things, George, but I find it hard to credit because I wasn't there myself, your own experiences.
Well, it took them around 8 years to grind the mirror for the 200-inch telescope, and the first cyclotron was something like 11 years in the progress of building.
But that cost millions, George. You haven't got millions, billions it cost.
No, we don't have the overhead, the drafts from the engineers and people sitting around the payroll. All of our effort on this is voluntary by many people in technical fields that contribute their effort to the project.
They all believe in flying saucers.
They all believe in flying saucers.
And you obviously believe totally in flying saucers.
Yeah.
Because of that one. Does your wife believe in flying saucers?
Well, I don't know very many people that don't. It's as obvious as believing in heaven or afterlife or anything else. You have certain things you believe in life. You believe there's air we breathe, yet you don't see it. We fly airplanes on it. And this is an intangible. We can measure it.
But why should these people come down, from outer space? Why don't they land in the White House or in Kremlin Square in Moscow and say, hey, listen to us, we can tell you a few things. We're 700 years old. We can travel through space. We're not concerned with time differentials.
Well, probably they're not concerned with giving us too much of their information because we'd only use it in our battle to destroy each other here.
Did these 4 men tell you that themselves?
No, they didn't tell me that, but this is a reasonable assumption on our part that the world's divided in 2 camps, each capable of eliminating the whole civilization. And if we were to go to another planet and observe this condition, we would certainly be a little cautious about who we talk to or what we reveal.
Yeah, but you...
And here we are with this war upon us.
Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in the cage.
You know what I'm talking about? That's the best thing I could do with my teeth falling out of my head. But yeah, so what? What is he saying? And you know, we have weapons of mass destruction. And and look, innocent people are getting hurt. Like literally. Like people have been getting hurt for generations, millenniums. And here we are in this crazy 2025 narrative, what's going on in our inundated all over the place. You can't get news, you can't get the, it's just all the time. Mockingbird media is just popping every which way. Move out of the way, and it's just getting so bizarre. What is up? Like, for real, what is up? Man, it's got me acting crazy on this show today because this guy's just like, yeah, them guys up there, 700 years old, they can probably give us something, but they give us a little bit, and then we decide to destroy each other with the technology, and well, it's just not good for humanity to get the whole thing. We don't need the whole cup. We have the man in the white robe walking around, his little, crystal balls and his little star fort that he lives upon, his little army, and he gets to do what he wants, and, he's got a full-on army, and we, solidified everything and just sealed it up in a vault and took all the information from humanity, and, oh, yeah, well, we think the Bible, we love to talk about the Bible. We really don't believe it. I'm talking about these other people out here, these satanic idiots. So, and it's going to lead to destruction. Okay, it's just straight up facts. And when you just divert and detach yourself from biblical anything, like literally these things are good for approval. Like you can use them for your life, your instruction manual. You can see through the junk. If you see. If you're not going to go up there and say, hey, Soganda, it makes me think of Power Rangers or something, Zordon, Soganda, can I get some information? Can I get a light? If you're a smoker, can I get a light? I, F and T, right? Whatever they were saying earlier, frequency and whatever else he said, right? Can I get a light? No, we got nuclear material in the back of our spaceship. We're transferring it to the Pentagon. Excuse me, I gotta still watch what I say. But yeah, we're interdimensional beings, bro. Yeah, we're 8 foot tall because we are the Nephilim. We don't want you knowing everything, bro. We're the Palladians one night. We're the Draconians the next. We just change on the drop of a dime. We'll be the Mantis people in your dreams tomorrow. We'll just give you we'll spoon feed you some propaganda on some television and tune your brain to the frequency we need you all to gather up and get in line and get some entertainment here at a Hollywood narrative. Crazy land we live in. Deception on every corner. And for a job of humanity, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. We're made in the image of God. We gotta do better. Be better. Be better people. Don't be listening to all this stuff. I listen, Voice of Skull. you're bad. You know, they have this technology. There's like inundated frequencies daily. You're bad. You're bad. You know that, right? You're bad. You're a bad person. You know, like if you tell something, they've scientifically proven this. If you go to a plant, you go up, you know this, even with creatures or animals, if you yell at them and cuss them and everything or whatever, it's going to put seed in their head in a figurative sense, but they're not going to believe they're good and they're going to bite you, right? They're going to they're going to think that they're evil. So all these applications and stuff we're like probably 1,000 years ahead of this technology. And this guy right here just spitting it and speaking it ever full front here of this interview. But man, I went too long. Let's continue on.
You yourself, was that the only experience you had? Mind you, that's 11 years ago in 1953, George.
That's right.
When you claimed to me you went up in this elevator into the spaceship and met the guy who spoke like Ronald Coleman. Was that your only contact with the...
That was the only contact I had with the people from the ship.
Have you had any other contacts with people?
I've had a recent contact last September, 1963.
Well, I don't have to ask you. Tell me.
Well, in this case, they drove a car into the airport. They didn't come in a ship. They're walking among us on the earth all the time, and we don't realize it.
I'm breathless. They. How many was they?
The they in the ship was 4 men.
They in the car?
The man that came in, there was a man came in by himself in September.
Well, you'll be telling me he had Martian license plates on the car.
No, they drove a standard American Cadillac.
And what did they want with you in 1963, 10 years later?
They gave me some more information pertinent to electronic and magnetic research.
But how did you know they were from some mysterious place in outer space?
You don't know unless they want you to know, and then they'll demonstrate some thing that they can do that we can't do, that's humanly impossible for us to do.
What did they demonstrate to you which convinced you, an apparently sober, sensible, balanced person who nevertheless believes in flying saucers, that convinced you they were unearthly people?
Well, they demonstrated the ability in front of 19 people sitting in a lounge, for instance, that they could sit there and disappear before your eyes and reappear. In fact, the man did this 3 times.
For you and your friends?
For 19 witnesses that were sitting in our lounge.
Vanished in front of your eyes?
Sit right there in a chair like you're there, and then you're not there, and then you're back there. He did this 3 times.
Now, I'm going to disappear, but purely for 1 minute for this message. The previous foregoing interview with George Van Tassel of Giant Rock Airport, California, was not, I must stress, presented to you as a scientific examination of George's claims. There are so many holes in George's claims, even to the layman like myself, that one is bound to be, how shall I put it, a trifle cynical. For instance, why didn't George keep one of the men with him to produce a living proof? And then we could have checked medically his heart and lungs and everything else about him to try and substantiate the claim that he is 700 Earth years of age. And why didn't he at least tell George where they came from? Or why didn't he at least present George with some physical, concrete proof so that people wouldn't regard him with suspicion and skepticism as someone who was perhaps just a little bit, overly easily convinced perhaps by some form of hallucination? But he did tell us one thing, how to recognize visitors from outer space. If they ever come to you and you're sitting in a room and they snap their fingers 3 times and disappear...
What?
And when they reappear a few seconds later, then you'll know for sure that they are from outer space. Thank you and good night.
I'm more blown away about what I just heard just then. He's like, snap your fingers. I mean, what in the world? I think it was like an old rap song back in the day about that. What is going on? This is the first time I've listened to this whole thing through the whole way through, so I wanted to do it live with you guys. Snap your fingers 3 times? What? And then they did pretty good visuals, man. That videographer, whoever did the editing back then, did a pretty good job. He's like, click, and then all of a sudden he just vanishes. Man, wonder if that guy's still alive. I need a good editor to help me edit some of these videos. But anyways, What is up with that? Like, for real. What is up? Like, let me get into my ranting. I've ranted a lot here during this broadcast. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. Like I said, my mouth feels like it's getting ready to explode. Teeth are exploding. I've been going through this for a couple years now. It's just nothing but everything else going on. But infirmities, even if Soganda came down, I will heal you if you'll just get on the ship. I'd be like, well, here's a shovel. Bury me out back before I get on the ship with you. I don't want your rejuvenation or your time machine. So here's what I figured out during this whole recording, and from 1964 with this gentleman: plasma and 0-point energy. That's all I'm hearing. My bells are ringing. I don't have to have the Nazi bell coming down, swooping in, and taking me off into oblivion. Plasma and 0-point energy, and that's what we're battling for right now. When you have the government saying we have the ability to manipulate time, and then old George over here is like, yeah, I've been doing it out there in the deserts of California. Well, welcome to the upside down Twilight Zone. And people, it's getting serious out there. And I think when it comes down to individual folks, like, everybody is an individual. But when you look out and you're like, yes, you're like, man, is something going to come out of this woods? Where am I at? Like, if I'm out in the city, is somebody going to come out here and start doing something evil? Because the TV's like, yes, everything's evil. Everything's coming back around. We're going to everything's going to be in total annihilation. And these folks are being dictated and manipulated like the Pinocchio. Like, I use this analogy all the time on Visual Disturbance, like a Pinocchio on the strings. And it's time to really get the vocabulary and the fear tactic out of your head. We got to get the fear out of our skull and out of our body. We got to get away from it, because fear drives death. It literally drives. And I think if there's a 700-year-old individual that's 5'6" and white and red-skinned running around here and flying around in the Vimanas, the Ofanas, what, I will come to you when it's time. It's time, whatever. And they're 700 years old. Do you think I want to hear that? Do you think I want somebody to come up to me and say, I've been watching your whole family line, and I'm 700 years old. I've been watching your family tree, watching you evolve. Could you imagine the insanity? I mean, come on. Wake up. We're not, beyond, being a sound mind person in this day and age is very difficult, but it's kind of interesting times to be alive, because it gives you a challenge, and you have to really put the full armor of God on. You have to think. You have to keep your head clear, because you're going to be, I need the rabbit is, So I guess if something does implode, and there's a catastrophic event, there's, like something really does happen, if I survive, whatever. And I guess I'll go to the local junkyard and be like, do you have any rabbit ears from 1964? I heard you can go back 6 years. I have these hieroglyphics to do some time traveling. I just want to go back 6 years. I want to go back to 2019. I used to be the milkman. Come on. Literally, if you've been following this channel long, that's all. You can go back and I'm not even going to hash that out, but go back and watch some of the videos with Visual Disturbance. But yeah, it's just, we're way off the rails. And it's that's why, guess what? It's a good time to plug in something. SpiracyCon.com and Facebook SpiracyCon. If you want to check that out and you want to hear some interesting topics there that day on the stage in the 22nd, 23rd of August in summer 2025, if massive meteorites don't come down from the giants throwing their slingshots, you can come join us at SpiracyCon.com, and you can sit on the stage. Well, we'll be on the stage and talking about these controversial topics. And I might even bring this up about what I just spoke about tonight. I don't know. But deploy the drones. And I try to incorporate my humor, but if anybody knows me personally, I literally act like this all the time. Even my wife gets after me, because I'm trying to live in a crazy dark world and just be joyful. I get really, sometimes this stuff can be it can really drag you down. Like, I even suffer from it. And then I suffer with a lot of infirmities, literally. And people don't know that about me, and people bash me on here all the time and be like, he can't even speak. He can't even speak language. But then back in the day, y'all used to watch, Larry the Cable Guy or whoever, might be a redneck, whatever that guy's name was. And y'all wouldn't say a darn word about them guys, right? Mater, from Cars.
Give her that.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Whatever, right? And y'all be like, oh, he's on TV. I don't have to mock him. He makes millions. But when it comes to me, just bash, bash, bash. The halfway blind man gets the bashing. But maybe I need to get me some rabbit ears in the back.
I need to.
But anyways, but I wanted to thank you all for being here. Please subscribe to the Visual Disturbance channel. We went a little longer than I'd expected. Brother David and Jillian will be firing up here in about an hour and a half. And I just want to invite you all to that. And I really appreciate y'all being with me tonight. I really am battling some teeth issues, and being prayer for me about that, because it's been I got to go through some issues with that's going to come down to probably haunt me. But other than that, I'm enduring to the end and listening to a bunch of rhetoric and listening to people listen off and read off a teleprompter and tell me that everything's okay while the ship is sinking. It's okay. We're in this together. We're in this together. Y'all know what I'm talking about. There's a certain individual that just bless his heart. That's what I would say. The old Kentucky slang, bless that gentleman's heart. We're in this together. I guess that's Soganda was probably saying that too to George. Hey, we're in this together. I got a flying craft. I'm 700 years old. I've been manipulating you with my fallen angel technology. But I used to be a human, but I turned into a Gilberine. But Nephilim, all that good stuff. But as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be. Here we are. Facing with insanity, and I think that's why there's literally, if you're not sound and you don't have the Holy, literally praying like prayer, and literally chiming in and saying, hey, there is a God, there is a creator, and there is an image that I'm made in, and I need to respect that and walk that instead of being displaced into fear-mongering and insanity on every crack and crevice, literally. And frequency, yes, that manipulates the mind's harmonics, holographics. AI is going to manipulate the mind, whether you like it or not. And heck, in my opinion, and here on the Visual Disturbance, I say it's been around way longer than what we just have in the last few years with ChatGPT. I say that stuff's been cranking for probably a millennium, probably thousands of years, but they just reawoken the beast. And here she is coming out all shiny. And you can, just go from there. There's organic AI and there's synthetic AI. Go do your math. And you enjoy it. And I wouldn't say you enjoy it, but there is such thing as organic AI and synthetic AI. Synthetic is man, that is the guy that's reading off the teleprompter and saying that we're in this together. And he's got a bunch of, let's just say, individuals that are good computer programmers, and they're sitting in a basement, probably the same Hollywood basement that the moon was in, and they're all programming all these different applications to manipulate your mind and to put you in servitude to a dystopian future. And but there's organic AI that, let's just say, it's interesting because it's more like what I was referring to earlier. It's probably as far as the pre-Adamic world, as it was in the days of Noah. So, yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on, and they're going to sell it. Well, there's good and there's bad. But guess what? It all leads the same path. And if we don't have any cognitive ability left when they say, hey, put the chip in your skull because you want to be like a god, because you want to have all knowledge, but you can literally go teach yourself and read and educate yourself, even if you're half blind like myself, or have some type of infirmity or what have you, you can still do something. If you just have to lay around, you can still do it. There's people that are, I'm trying to encourage people, if you're down and out and you have an infirmity, I'm a very big advocate for people that have infirmities. And if somebody makes fun of you, I pray that they don't ever make fun of you in front of me, because I will say something, and I will say some choice words, not in a bad way. I don't like when people get put down. It drives me insane, and it's not a good thing. It's not something you want to approach me with and mock. I hate when people get mocked. It's just not good. I don't like it. This world is built on that. Humanity has been corrupted to a certain level to where they think they're superior authority, and we got little people running around here that are masquerading as angels of light or what have you, and they think they've educated themselves so much, they've educated their brain out of oblivion, and they don't have compassion and empathy. And that's just my ranting here for this evening. But be empathetic, be loving, love one another. Be the change you want to see. There's a YouTube channel that I watch every now and then. He says, be the change you want to see. Do that. Be the change. Step out on faith. Be real. Don't be robotic. Don't use the GPS just to go down the street. Don't use the GPS to go to the bathroom. Yes, that is a thing. No, don't laugh. I know you're probably laughing on the screen. I'm not kidding you. There's people with the Google glasses that they don't make anymore. I think they're making another rendition of that here soon. But people have forgot how to function. Don't let the synthetic AI take you over. And watch out for Soganda when he shows up in a craft and says he's 700 years old. But with that being said, there's my rambling on here today. And I hope everybody is doing well. And, but yeah, keep it fresh, keep it real. Stay away from happy. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The golden arches. Stay away from it. And, but yeah, like I did at the beginning of the program, I'll sip on some lemonade again. It's not a sponsorship or anything. I literally just drinking some kombucha lemonade. So it's tea and lemonade. So yeah, become a kombucha fan. Yeah. So does a gut good. But anyways, Ray made a comment. Ray, I'm a loner and a pure blood. Oh man, I could go down a rabbit hole with that, my friend. Oh man, you caught me on that one, Ray. You caught me on that one. Spray makes you go Craig. Big shout out to you, my friend Johnny Kirk. It's good to see you always. Cheryl, thank you so much. God bless you. And then whoever put the Elohim, I can't see it now. Ray again. Ray's cranking it. I think Cody Cox was in the chat a while ago. Thank you so much for attending with me here, my friend from Texas. I haven't got back with you. I've been super slammed, and I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to reach back out to you. TX Haas, thank you so much for being here. And God bless you guys. And just share this thing out. Share this thing out. It was just a random live tonight. I wanted to go live. But I want to thank you all for always being on the Visual Disturbance channel. Share this thing out. Subscribe. Check out Facebook.com. I got Facebook.com, my Visual Disturbance Facebook. I got X. All the links in the description. Check out my P.O. Box. A lot of people don't know I have a P.O. Box. If you want to send me a letter, P.O. Box is in the description. You're more than welcome to do that. If you want to send me something, send me a letter. I appreciate it. There's a lot of good blessings to people out there that's been blessing me abundantly, just the kindness. And thank you for the cloves and the clove oil. Yes, I have been taking that. And let's just say I have healthy teeth, but there's all kinds of other issues going on with the brain stuff. So yeah, so it's all kinds of fun under the sun. But yeah, so there's all I'm going to say and just close here. And Ray, you're cracking me up. Same here, man. Same here, Ray. Keep it fresh, keep it real, brother. But anyways, yeah, so y'all be blessed. And keep it real. And thank you for being part of the Visual Disturbance channel. And the Dr. Milk came in glass balls in 1965 with a thumbs up. I love these comments today. Y'all are too good today. At least y'all got my humor on this one. At least y'all could stay with me. But yeah, to conclude this, just stay away from all this insanity. Life's too short to be acting all foolish and zapped out and letting people manipulate your brain for their will. So everybody have a good evening. Thank you all for attending with me. And once again, Brian of Visual Disturbance, I'm out of here, but we'll see you on the next one. Check out the Nintendo Switch 2's missing upload that I just posted today. Check that out. It'd be fun if you checked it out, because there's a lot going on with that too. I mean, I've never done anything to do with hardware as far as on this channel. I just did it because I thought it was strange. I thought it was a very strange topic, and I cannot believe that happened in our reality with that amount of Nintendo consoles disappearing just at a gas station. So go check that out. The Nintendo Switch 2's missing upload that I put up today. But anyways, I'll see y'all at SpiracyCon, hopefully. Tickets are still on sale. Thank you all for being here. Check out the links in the description. Bless you all. And sorry for the notifications not going out. Sometimes they don't go out. So thank you all for being here. If you're catching toward the end of the video here. But yeah, appreciate everybody being here. Thank y'all again. See you on the next one. Brian of Visual Disturbance. I'm out of here.
got one that can see.